And welcome to the Bulloch Sports Report. I'm Josh Aubrey. Plenty to get to in this week's show. We had our area high school football teams playing each other. You had the Statesboro Blue Devils and Southeast Bulloch Yellow Jackets taking on each other over at Womack Field, where the Blue Devils prevailed in that one by a score of 21-10. Meanwhile, Saturday night at Paulson Stadium, the Irk Russell Classic getting underway. Calvary and Beach in the early game, and then our two Bulloch County teams battling in the late game. You had the Bulloch Academy Gators taking on the Portal Panthers. After a close first half, the Portal Panthers fell apart a little in the third quarter. Bulloch Academy started rolling on offense and defense, and they went on to win in that one by a score of 49-20. We'll hear from the head coaches in these games. Bulloch Academy head coach Aaron Phillips, Southeast Bulloch head coach Jared Zito, and Statesboro High head coach Matt Dobson, and as well as a couple of players as they prepare for games this week. Actually, only the two victorious teams, Statesboro and Bulloch Academy, will be playing Friday night. Portal and Southeast Bulloch both have this Friday off. As for the Georgia Southern Eagles, they're getting closer and closer to their season opener on the road at Fresno State. They held their final scrimmage of the preseason this past Saturday afternoon. We had a chance to catch up with head coach Clay Helton and a couple players. We'll have all that and more coming up on the Bulloch Sports Report. And a reminder before we go to break, hopefully you'll never be in an accident, but if so, please give our friends at the Sullivan Law Firm a call, 912-489-8888, or online at thesullivanlawfirm.com. This segment of the Bulloch Sports Report is brought to you in part by Girard Pre-Owned Vehicles, quality cars, trucks, and SUVs right here in Statesboro, Georgia. Voted best place to buy 10 years running. 2330 Northside Drive West. Well, the Georgia Southern Eagles getting set for their season opener coming up August 30th on the road at Fresno State. This past Saturday, they held their final scrimmage of the preseason as Coach Helton got one final look at the team there at Paulson Stadium. Offense and the defense, the ones against the ones and the twos against the twos. And this is what he had to say after the final scrimmage.
It's such a great competitive brotherhood, what we got right now, in the chemistry in the locker room. And vets like Brendan and Brandon Tyson, both of them, do a great job of being able to play at a very high level and still keep that chemistry between offense and defense. This is one football family, offense, defense, and special teams. And, you know, now we've had 14 practices against each other. Now we get to start preparing, you know, for our opener. And it's good to start preparing against somebody else rather than yourselves every day. You know, I thought it went back and forth really well. Both scrimmages, really what stand out to me is the efficiency of the quarterbacks and being able to move the ball. You know, not making the critical error, no interceptions by the quarterbacks today, really protecting the ball as an offense extremely well. You know, defensively, moved the ball a little bit, but when we got into the red zone, I thought they did a really nice job of holding up in the red zone, kind of bend but don't break. I thought our tackling in space was excellent today by the defense, and overall, great day. Anytime you don't get anybody hurt and have that two physical preseason games, you're a happy head coach.
Well, for the players, the offense and defense, according to Coach Helton, both looking solid. The offense getting into the end zone and not making mistakes, and the defense, for the most part, bending but not breaking. We had a chance to talk with linebacker Brendan Harrington, who transferred to Georgia Southern from Appalachian State, as well as Eagle quarterback J.C. French.
Yeah, I felt really good. I feel like the offense jived really well out there. Offense line did a great job picking up blitzes and all that, so super excited for the season. So I think we're meshing really well right now, and it's super exciting. Everybody's doing their job at a high level, so it makes my job a lot easier. We haven't had many guys in the transfer portal, so it's helped us further our chemistry rather than just building new relationships with guys. And I think on both sides of the ball, having a Brandon Tyson and Brendan Harrington come in and be the leaders that they are on defense has really helped the defensive side of the ball mesh well. And they've been giving us a hard time this fall camp, which is good for us.
I think it's been a tremendous camp. It's been very fun getting to know, all of the newcomers, the last couple freshmen, last couple transfers throughout the summer, and then to kind of just get to know them on a more sincere basis, through the dog days of camp. It's been real fun, man. Like to kind of get a new set of brothers and a new set of networking, new set of coaches. It's been a blast. It's been a true blast. I think we've grown tremendous. Both sides of the ball grew closer. I'll give you this. Me and the quarterbacks, we kind of make a bet every day on, their drives. If they score, they get a point. If we get a stop, I get a point. And the price to pay is 10 up downs. So we've had our fair share of me doing up downs one day, the quarterbacks doing their up downs, but that's just a small tidbit of, how close we've grown as a team together, both sides of the balls. So it's been a tremendous camp. I can't complain.
And once again, the Eagles open the season August 30th on the road at Fresno State. All right, stay with us. High school action and interviews coming up next. The Bulloch Sports Report is brought to you in part by Pope Construction, building opportunities for the future. Well, the Statesboro Blue Devils out to a 1-0 start after winning the Battle of the Borough against Southeast Bulloch. Statesboro won 2 years ago. Last year it was Southeast Bulloch on top. This time Statesboro once again, but how they did it was a little unusual. They won 21-10, but they won running the football. Statesboro, since Matt Dobson's been there, has been more known to throw the ball, but they took what the defense gave them and they just kept on running the ball. They only threw the ball 4 times, completed 3 of those passes, but they rushed the ball for nearly 300 yards. We had a chance to talk with head coach Matt Dobson and a couple of the players about how they feel about the Southeast Bulloch victory and then their matchup coming up this Friday in Houston County as they take on Veterans.
Yeah, I think just for our kids, the pride aspect of it, like we talked about, and just the experience factor was a big win for them. In front of a great crowd. Obviously, we had some weather delays and some different things that went on, but we still had a great crowd. The environment was really fun. Our kids really enjoyed it, and they played a great football game. And so proud of them, and just happy for them to get that experience at home. Obviously, the first time that any of these kids have ever played Southeast Bulloch at home. We obviously have done it at Paulson a couple times, and then last year going over there. And so, cool experience for our kids to get to play at Womack Field against a rival like that.
Breaking it down, first off on the offensive side of the ball, I know you guys have been known to spread and to throw the ball, but against Southeast you ran the ball and you ran it very successfully. Was that the game plan going in? And if so, is that something you're going to kind of lean on a little more or what?
Yeah, I think it certainly was a big part of our plan. I think we definitely stuck to our plan, and we probably ended up running a little bit more than we anticipated, just due to a couple things. I think the weather, pregame and the field conditions probably played a little bit of a role in that. But then we were just running the football so good, our offensive line and our tight ends, and we're just blocking so well, and our running backs and quarterback were running so hard and just getting yards after contact. There was really no point in going away from it. We were able to roll couple different running backs in there and then run the ball with Beckham a little bit as well, and there was just really no point in going away from it. We did feel like going into the game we had a little bit of an advantage in the trenches just with the size we have up front, and our guys just played a phenomenal game up front.
On the defensive side of the ball, you give up one big play there and maybe one play before the end of the first half. Other than that, you really shut Southeast Bulloch down. Tell us a little bit about your defense and how you feel like they play.
Yeah, outstanding. It's just a tremendous game plan and just a tremendous job by our players of trusting that game plan and being selfless. That first drive, we talked all week about the speed of what Southeast Bulloch does is going to be faster than we can emulate in practice. They obviously do that, every day. They practice that stuff. They've been doing it for a couple of years now, and so their backs are hitting stuff faster. And I think the speed of it caught us off guard a little bit at that first series. But proud of the resolve of our kids not getting down and just trusting the plan and executing the plan a little bit better at a higher speed the rest of the game. Was a tremendous job, and then just creating the turnovers that we did. We got pressure on the quarterback one time to force a little bit of an errant throw with an interception. A great play. We had a blitz called and hit an option, and forced a fumble there. And then forced a fumble on a dive play, and then almost got another one on a quarterback sack. Got the ball on the ground. So just creating that ball chaos and getting those takeaways was really important.
This week you go on the road to Veterans, go up against somebody you're kind of familiar with, so Georgia Southern ties.
Yeah, a lot of guys, especially on their defensive staff, that has Georgia Southern ties. A lot of coaches that either played at Georgia Southern or coached at Georgia Southern, and they're well coached. I mean, they're playing really hard right now. Just watch their scrimmage tape, and in game one, they're playing really hard. And they're well coached, and then they got some really good skill kids. I think, it starts on the defensively in the back end. They got a couple defensive backs that are Division I level players that have got a bunch of offers, and then they got a ball carrier back from last year that was that's a good running back, and so and then they got a quarterback that ended up starting later in the year. He didn't play against us last year, game 2, but later in the year he ended up taking over the starting role as a freshman. So he's a sophomore this year, got some starts under his belt. Very big, physical, can make every throw, and so gonna be a unique challenge just going on the road, I think, as well. It's a good experience for us. When we scheduled this game 2 years ago, the whole purpose of it was to get a playoff-like road trip, going somewhere that we're not familiar with going into a big stadium that's a playoff-like atmosphere, and so that's what we're hoping to get out of this.
All right, we're here with Statesboro running back Keon Childers, and Keon, a big win over Southeast Bulloch. Tell me a little bit about how you feel the team executed and how things went and how fun it was to be back on the winning side.
I think the team executed well. We went over what we did at practice, and we just went out there and played. If the win feels great, because we had a chip on our shoulder, and we just felt like that we needed to get it off, so yeah.
A lot of people were surprised you guys didn't throw the ball as much as you usually do. Was that kind of the game plan going in? And tell us a little bit about how you feel like the offensive line played.
Really, I mean, to be honest, they couldn't stop the run, so we just kept running the ball, kept, running it down their throats, and I feel like the offensive line played a big part in the night that I had, so congrats to them, big clap for them.
Making the transition that you've had to make, what's it been like to be taking over as running back?
It's new because I never played running back before, but I mean, it gives me a chance to go do what I do best with the ball in my hands, and I just feel good about it this season. I feel like I'm going to have a lot of rushing yards this season.
Coach said it's important for you guys to get off to a fast start this season because you kind of stumbled a little bit out of the blocks last year. Got a game coming up here Friday night. How are you guys feeling about this one on the road?
We feel great. We're locked in. We're ready to practice, ready to work. We just got to go 1-0 every week.
Here with Statesboro defensive lineman Cam Jackson. Cam, tell me a little bit about how you guys feel about the game. Big game plan there to stop Southeast Bulloch's running game, and you really shut them down except for that one touchdown.
I feel like we did amazing jobs. We just got to trust everyone and their assignments to do their best, and we shut down the run game.
What is it about the defense you feel like are the big strengths this year?
I'll say it starts with the trenches. Our trenches is one of our best strengths, and our linebackers, they give us the excitement.
As far as being, one of the upperclassmen, what's your role as far as leadership on this team?
I got to be more vocal as a leader too, but I feel like because we have our defense, we have a lot of seniors and a lot of leaders on that team.
Got to go on the road this week. I know it's important for you guys to get off to a good start because last year you guys came out a little slow. How are you feeling about this week's game on the road?
I'm feeling good. We just got to keep the grind stopping, keep the grind over and over again, practicing hard, just trusting their assignments, trusting the coaches.
The Bulloch Sports Report is brought to you in part thanks to Morris Bank, the proud sponsor of our Player of the Week segment. This week featuring Statesboro softball standout Emma Patterson and Bulloch Academy quarterback Sam Hubbard. As for the Southeast Bulloch Yellow Jackets, thankfully for them, they get an extra week to prepare before starting region play on the road in Savannah against the Islands. We had a chance to talk with head coach Jared Zito about what he felt they did wrong and what they maybe did right this past Friday against Statesboro High.
Well, like we talked about Friday, I think, first you give, hats off to Statesboro. I thought they played a really good game. They didn't turn the ball over. They didn't punt. They kept our defense on the field a long time. And so that was in their favor for sure in terms of depth of our guys going both sides of the ball. I thought we played hard. I thought we were physical, and I thought we didn't give up. All those things I'm really proud of. Probably really disappointed in the number of mental errors we had on both sides of the ball. And we watched the film. That really is the tale of the tape. So all fixable stuff that we're going to show them today and move forward, but certainly it cost us Friday night.
You got some time to work on things. You have this Friday off, and then you get into region schedule against Islands on the road. What do you do between now and then? Well,
I mean, we're going to treat this week kind of like we would any other week. I mean, this will be a work week, Monday through Wednesday, just like we normally would. We'll start to look at Islands. Things we need to work on, we're going to work on within our individual group and group work stuff, but we'll start to get ready a little bit for Islands schematically. Thursday should be a JV day, and Friday we'll have off. So a little bit of R&R. We don't get much of it, so we want to get them, get their feet back underneath them. And there's a little bit of sickness going around, it feels like. So maybe we'll all be healthy and feel really good next Monday.
Any changes personnel-wise, and you guys pretty healthy after that game?
Yeah, everybody's healthy. There's going to be a little bit of competition on a couple spots that guys didn't really perform like they're capable, and so we want to give another guy an opportunity and maybe see those two compete, and maybe we get a little depth that way, or maybe we hold guy accountable for not being productive on Friday night. Sometimes, we tell our kids all the time, the depth chart is week to week. And, you're allowed to make mistakes, but if you're making critical mistakes that really are costing us over and over again, at some point we got to make a move.
Hojo's Country Store is proud to support all Bulloch County and surrounding area athletics. We've been fueling up for almost 20 years, with 3 locations in Statesboro and locations in Sylvania, Wadley, and Bagsley. Hojo's Country Stores is the real MVP.
And a special shout out for our Bulloch Academy Gators. Go get them.
Well, the Bulloch Academy Gators coming off a big victory over Portal. That game 21-14 at the half, and then the Gators outscore Portal 28-0 en route to a 49-20 victory. This week, another GHSA opponent, and this time they're also in Bulloch County, as they'll be hosting Claxton. Over at Gator Alley, we had a chance to talk with head coach Aaron Phillips and a couple of the Gator players about how they did this past Saturday and the matchup coming up this Friday.
Friday night was great for our school. It's always an honor to get to play in the Eric Russell Classic. I thought the kids, it's a really young group of guys, but they're a pleasure to coach. I mean, we go out there every day at practice, and they're fun to be around. They kind of keep us energized a little bit, and they're fun to be around, and they play like that too. They're not the biggest or the fastest or the most talented group that we probably ever had, man, but they play with a lot of heart and a lot of passion, a little energy, and they get after it. And Saturday night, we were able to do that. Offensively, it's great when you got your quarterback back. He is, with us running what we run, he's an extension of our running game. The element of us being able to throw the ball a lot more this year has been a big, kind of contributor to our success. Obviously, Donye Garvin is back. I mean, having that guy back, he's just, he's the quietest, 3,000-yard rusher that you're going to see. I mean, he just goes out there and he just keeps, getting 7-8 yard carries, and then before you know it, he's 120 yards in a game, and a couple scores. I mean, that it's hard to stop that kind of combination, and the other guys are coming along too, offensive line wise, they kind of got a chip on their shoulder. They've heard all the, you're not going to be as big as the group last year. You're not, you're young. And we talked about complacency all year. last year leading up to the summer and this summer too. And I think those guys are tired of hearing about what they can't do or what they're not. And on the words of Griff Sumner, man, they want to be physical and come off, and we were able to do that. And the biggest compliment to those guys is when in the fourth quarter we kind of broke Portal's wheel, a little bit. We could see it that, and our kids could feel it. They just, we say you got to smell blood like sharks in the water, and I thought they sensed that Friday or Saturday night. I'm proud of them.
So you got to turn around. You get to play here at Gator Alley coming up Friday night. You've got Claxton coming in. What do you know about them? What do you expect? And what's the next step you hope the team can go through?
Claxton, they got a brand new head coach over there, Philip Richards, a guy that was here for 1 year. He's been at stops at Scriven County and Effingham before, and so he'll be familiar with here at Gator Alley. And but a new team, and so they're doing some different things on offense and defense, and they're going to be coached well, and they'll play hard, and we'll see. I mean, we'll have to come out and execute at a high level again. They're going to have some good athletes, and they throw the ball really well. They're kind of figuring things out like we are, but Tattnall County last week, they had a game that you change one or two plays and they win that ball game. So it'll be a good challenge for us. It'll be our first home game, official home game of the year on a Friday night. So we're excited about that. But from us, what we need to do better is we need to be a little more consistent. With our blocking from our skill guys, our A-backs, and our wide receivers. We've got to get a little better at that. And then, we got to eliminate some stupid mistakes, some penalties. I can kind of, I'll forgive chop blocks and things like that because that's what we do. And a lot of times that's a reaction call instead of, a call that they've seen. But, the other stuff are mental mistakes that we got to clean up. And I think we can do that, then this group could be pretty special. We talk about it all the time. Why not? I mean, somebody's got to do it. Why not you? These young guys, man, they just don't know no better. So they just keep fighting and play hard, and that's all we can ask for.
All right, here with Bulloch Academy quarterback Sam Hubbard. And Sam, big win there in the Eark Russell Classic. How'd you feel like you guys played?
I thought we did good. I thought we executed on offense, and our defense was shaky in the first half, but the second half they really picked up the pace and made some big stops to help us win the game.
What was it like to be out there on the field, the same field you guys won the state championship on?
I don't know. It was fun. I mean, always getting to play at Georgia Southern is fun. I mean, getting to play on the turf, the big stadium, all the fans come. Even other schools like Statesboro and SEB, they played the night before, and they came and watched us. It's a good environment.
For you, this was a different team than the one you had last year. Were there some question marks that you saw answered that you had kind of going into this season, losing 14 seniors from last year?
I don't know, definitely our line. I didn't think it would be obviously we weren't as big as last year, but I mean, they stepped up. All the kids that are playing this year, they stepped up and did their jobs, and our offense looked really good. We couldn't be stopped, and then defensive, I mean, we're a little shaky in the secondary, but some people stepped up and did their job and helped us win.
Got a big game coming up at home against Claxton. How are you guys feeling about this one?
Good, as long as we do our job and just everybody do their role in the offense and defense, and we'll be perfectly fine.
Here with lineman Jack Lanier. Jack, your thoughts first off on the big win against Portal in the Eark Russell Classic on Saturday.
I thought we played well. I thought the offense was pretty unstoppable. The young offensive line playing really well, the newer backs, and I thought we executed and played very well on the offensive side of the ball.
Neat to be back there on the field at Paulson Stadium. That's where you ended the season last year and started it last year and started it this year.
Yes, sir. I mean, it was awesome. Yeah, playing there is always fun. Big stadium and stuff, and I was happy to play.
14 seniors you guys had to replace this year. I know there were some question marks going into that game. How'd you feel like the new guys did?
I thought they did great. Offensive line, I'm the only returning starter on the offensive line, and I thought all around they played really well. And I mean, we were pretty physical and moved them off the ball, and that's how we win.
So you got Claxton coming up. You get to play here at Gator Alley. How are you guys feeling about this game?
Feeling great. As long as we execute on the offensive side of the ball and tackle on defense, then we're going to be perfectly fine. We're going to win.
Have you had to step up as a leader this year because of the fact that you're the only offensive lineman returning from last year?
Yes, I have. You know, I'm kind of trying to change over from, you know, I'm being the only senior on the offense line and returning starter. You know, I got to lead those young guys and keep their heads straight for the games.
And that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. We thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.